What's up, guys? Welcome back to another installment of Caleb's Corner. Today's episode is going to be a little bit shorter. We're going to talk on a couple things that we got going on in the podcast, some new things that we got going on, and all the new and innovating stuff that we are doing here on Caleb's Corner. So first and foremost, I wanted to thank everybody for watching the last episode I posted, which was my interview with Juice, aka SA. He was awesome. I really appreciated the feedback that I got from y'all. He is definitely someone that's going to be back on the podcast more and more. You're going to see a lot more of SA, and you're going to see a lot more growth as well here on Caleb's Corner. You know, with that being said, SA's episode was really an introduction into my first official season here on Caleb's Corner. The episodes that I've been dropping, not that they haven't been legitimate episodes, because each and every one has their own aspects that are excellent, and they all shine throughout the work that myself and Charles do here for y'all as an audience. But we wanted to really go forward with something new, something exciting, and wanted to stamp it with our first official season. So SA's episode dropped. You guys loved that. Next episode we're dropping is going to be an interview with Reina Rivera, aka someone who knows a lot more about anime than I do. This episode is going to be very educational, very informative. That being said, it's a little bit longer than most of the episodes I have dropped. It's about an hour long, give or take a couple seconds, literally. So that being said, you guys should definitely check it out. If you wanted to get a little bit more into anime, don't really know a lot about it, this is definitely the episode for you. If you wanted some suggestions and you're not really sure where to start, this is definitely the episode for you. If you like two handsome and beautiful people wearing glasses talking about a topic you might enjoy, this is definitely the episode for you. So check it out. It's going to be dropping next week. By the time this episode drops, you guys are definitely going to love it. So that being said, today's episode is going to be more short. It's going to be a sweet and simple episode, just touching on things that everybody can get behind. Right? And so today's episode is going to be about nostalgia and why nostalgia is important for us as individuals and actually as a nation. I think it's so important to touch on things that you have been through so that you can better understand where you're going in your life. I constantly be rewatching things that I used to watch all the time growing up because, as you guys know, this is Caleb's Corner. I love movies, I love TV, I love music, and there's a certain aspect about those things that really bring out one of the happier times and emotions and allows you to step into a place where for at least 30 minutes in your life, you were happy, right? Like, I can remember vividly the episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender that I watched because it's such a good show, and it brings me back to a place of peace and happiness and growing up, and honestly, when times were simpler. Like, I'm just turned 23, like a couple weeks ago. That's crazy. By the time this episode airs, I'll be 23 years old, you know? And that being said, we're getting older. Like, I started this podcast last year, you know, and to see the growth that has accumulated over the past year, the past 6 months is just incredible. And I can't wait to continue growing, but you can't help but look at the projects that you have done, the things that you have completed, and remember a time where your priorities were different. Remember a time where the struggles you had were different. And think about where you are now, right? And how you've overcome those struggles, or maybe you're still going through them, and how you're in a different place, hopefully, because growth is always the goal. You always want to make sure you're growing as an individual. You always want to make sure that at the end of the day, you can say that you have had a positive lengthening of time, because that's one thing that I really enjoy about time. And it's also something that is really just a difficult concept to grasp, is that it's going to move on without you. Right? No matter what, the days are going to go by, the weeks are going to go by, and sooner rather than later, a year is going to go by. Are you doing the exact same thing you were doing a year ago? Are you comfortable with the amount of time that has passed and the things that you've done within that amount of time? Were there goals that you maybe wanted to accomplish and didn't? If you didn't, that's totally fine, because we are individuals and we are go at our own pace, but it's always best to push yourself. It's always best to remind yourself where you came from and the direction that you're going in, so that way you have a better motivation to get there. Personally, for me, a lot of the things that can distract me are the struggles that I got going on in my life. And overthinking is definitely something that I tend to struggle with sometimes. So it's nice to simplify everything and go back to a time when I was really not struggling about a lot, really just taking in everything that came. I don't know if you guys, I'm going to bring up a couple things right off the bat just that I think everybody should have seen. These are all nostalgic pop culture items that I be watching in general, just to kind of help me remind myself of, hey man, no matter what, at the end of the day, time is going to go on and you're always going to find something to be happy about. So I don't know if anybody here has seen Flubber, right? Robin Williams, the GOAT. Fuck, love that movie. That movie is so funny. It's iconic. And Robin Williams killed it because he kills every single role that he does. When I want to go back to a time that I'm super happy, I'll watch Zoe 101, man. Like, Zoe 101 was so funny. It was so iconic. It was just such a good show back in the day. It really helped young teenage boys and girls experience a life that a rich, white, private boarding school teenager experienced, and I never would have experienced that. So it's just super funny. Family Matters, old shows, right? Nick at Night. I remember not doing my homework. I remember just having a good time and enjoying myself, eating some McDonald's maybe really late, and really just not caring about a lot, watching Family Matters, Steve Urkel messing up, goofing around, having a good time. Kim Possible. Kim Possible is on Disney Plus. There's a lot of shows on Disney Plus that are just nostalgia driven, right? Because I feel like a childhood for everybody, a staple in everybody's childhood is going to be like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Disney Channel, Boomerang, if you guys are about that life. It's really weird when you're talking to people who have different childhoods than you, right? Because you get to understand like what kind of things are nostalgia for them. And nostalgia is really just, to explain its definition, is feeling a time of remembrance when things were happier, or going back to a place when things were better, right? That's what nostalgia is. And it's very important to not get stuck in your nostalgia, because low-key, that's how depression happens, right? You think about how great things were and you want to go back and you can't. And because you can't and you're stuck in the position that you are now, you are depressed. And that depression can low-key lead to anxiety, because you're stuck in the place that you are and you can't go back to how happy you were. And now you feel like because you can't go back, time is going to pass you by. And because time is passing you by without you doing anything, the future is happening in the moment and you're missing out on it. So then that's anxiety, and you're missing out on things that you could be accomplishing. It's very important to understand the balance between, I want to go back to a point in time, and remembering that things haven't always been as hard and they won't always continue to be hard, right? You're a star in your own film. That's fan fiction. Like, that's a quote from Rex Life Raj song. I love that man because he really helps me understand sometimes that at the end of the day, guys, I've already done a whole episode on Rex Life Raj, right? It was my Lupin episode. It was really good. At the end of the day, you're going to have to realize that you manifest your own destiny. And even though sometimes your story isn't going how you'd like it to, and maybe even sometimes somebody else's story is going so much better than you, and there's so many similarities between you and somebody else that maybe not jealous, but you feel kind of like you're missing out, little FOMO, right? Fear of missing out, that you don't know what to do. You don't know how to carry on. That's okay. That's okay. Everybody feels that way sometimes, right? Everybody feels that way. That just means that you got to focus a little bit more on yourself, focus a little bit more on your why. Because when you understand your why, you'll know what you need to do, and that's your how. Understand your why, and you'll know your how on how to accomplish the things that you want. But nostalgia really brings you back to a place where it helps you understand where you've been, why you enjoyed those things, and really, it'll help you determine what you want to do. Because I personally feel that the only way to truly be successful in life is to just do the things that you want to do, right? Everybody has to have a daily grind. You have to have a way to bring income in. You have to have a way to provide for yourself, to provide for your family, to have the essentials in life. You need food, you need water, you need shelter. Like, at the end of the day, if you have those three things, you're doing better than most people on the face of the earth. And no matter how hard things get, and no matter what you're going through, if you have food, you have water, and you have shelter, you're doing better than a lot of people on this earth, you know? So you always just want to be appreciative that you're able to provide for yourself. But you have to live your life. Live your life according to what you want to do. If you're not living your life according to what you want to do, you're just working for somebody else. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you think that building somebody else's vision is fulfilling, love that for you. Continue to do it, you know, because everybody has different priorities in life. And figuring out those priorities is the first step in finding happiness. You know, what do you want to accomplish in life? And what kind of people do you want to surround you when you're making those accomplishments? Who do you want to bring with you throughout your journey? Because this life, like, it's Men's Health Awareness Week, and 80% of suicides are male. So it's weird to think that as a society, being a provider is so important to the male figure, right? The hierarchy in a home is a lot of times the male is a provider. And if you can't provide, then a lot of times people feel unsuccessful. But chasing your dreams isn't always the most provisional resource. It's not always something that you can do and still provide for everybody around you. And so sometimes people give up on themselves and they decide not to chase their dreams. And I can't tell you how much I just truly wish that you wait a little bit longer. Because through every cloud is a silver lining. And at the end of every race is a finish line. You're going to get there no matter what. There's definitely going to be struggles on the way. But if you're doing the things that you enjoy and you're doing your best to make that your center of life and what really helps drive you into your provisional resources, into your relationships, then no matter what, at the center of who you are, you're happy, you're fulfilled. And that'll be significantly shown through your relationships, through your successes, through your endeavors. And nostalgia is an important part of that because it helps you define what you want in life from where you've been. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick. I think it's very important to take account of where you were to understand where you're going. And I wanted to give you guys a quick update on what's going on for Caleb's Corner and the direction that we're going to be taking it. Because I believe in this podcast. I believe in the people that are surrounding me with it. To everybody that watches this podcast, to everybody that supports it, I cannot thank you enough. I mean, we're really grinding out here, you know. We started from nothing, literally. And if you could see where we started now to how it's going, I promise you, you're not gonna wanna stop on this train. So, thank you. Can't thank you enough. But that was that, guys. I appreciate all of you listening, as usual. I'm Caleb Cantu. Appreciate all of you, and this was Caleb's Corner. We out.